In this video, we're going to look at the Roman pronunciation of the Pater Noster. At the time that this text was written, of course, Latin was pronounced in the way Romans had always pronounced it, especially educated Romans. What happened was that in the medieval period, Latin changed, and then nowadays there's something called ecclesiastical Latin, which is just Latin pronounced with an Italian accent, pretty much ignoring all of the rules of classical Latin that have come down to us over the ages. And also what happened in Europe before the modern period and before the standardization of the restored classical pronunciation, which has occurred in the academic world and throughout most of the educational world, every country had its own little system of pronouncing Latin. Now they're pretty much two or three, maybe four. There's a German method, which is pretty established in Germany. There's, in England, the restored classical pronunciation, which has held sway since the Second World War. In America, there's something called American Scholastic pronunciation, which is a bit like restored classical, but it's been simplified slightly for students in schools. And then we have the pronunciation, the idiosyncratic pronunciation of Rome, modern Rome. So this is not going to be the modern Roman pronunciation, but the ancient Roman pronunciation, and they're going to go through with you step by step, talking about why we pronounce things certain ways. So pater, firstly we have an accent, pa, and then a fall at the end of the word, ter. So pater noster, qui, the I on qui is a long I, and it has a circumflex accent, so it's slightly up, down. It's a winding tone, the Greeks called it. The Romans had this tone. It's come down to us into modern Italian, so when the modern Italian says amare, that sort of lilting sound we hear on the A is our descendant of the Roman circumflex accent. So pater noster qui es in caelis, and in caelis the AE is pronounced I, as in Caesar. It's a diphthong, two letters coming together to form a distinct sound. In medieval Latin, this became caelis. So just in the towards the end of the Roman Empire, and the I sound turned into an air sound. Vowels do shift over history. This is something that's happened in English. So pater noster qui es in caelis. Sanctificetur. Notice the R at the end of the word, sanctificetur, is pronounced. We don't know exactly how the Roman R sounded. The Roman grammarians talk about it as the dog sound. So it could have been a sound at the back of the throat, or it could have been a trilled r. We really don't know exactly, but we do know it was definitely pronounced. Sanctificetur nomen tuum. And this nomen is a long O, and it's got the circumflex, so it's nomen, a bit like amare in Italian. Nomen tuum. Notice the M on the end of tuum is actually a nasalization of the last vowel. So what we have is tuum. Sanctificetur nomen tuum, and not tuum. Also, we don't break the two U's into two separate. It's not two syllables. It's just tuum, like that. So sanctificetur nomen tuum. Adveniat. Adveniat. Nothing surprising there. The next word, there's an argument about how we go about pronouncing it. Alan says this GN sound is pronounced like the GN that occurs when the G comes in contact with the N when an English person says hangnail. So, this is quite hard to pronounce. I prefer to keep the G sound quite strong myself. I'm not completely convinced. So about with Alan. So I would prefer, and I do generally say regnum, but some people go regnum. It's your choice. Adveniat regnum tuum adveniat regnum tuum, and notice the M on the end of regnum, doing that again, nasalizing it. Adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, fiat voluntas tua. Sicut in caelo, sicut in caelo, a long O on caelo. So because we have two long sounds, the sound of the word is very different. Caelo, sicut in caelo, et in terra, et in terra, with a long A on terra. Sicut in caelo, et in terra. Notice that the terra is a two-syllable word. English people, you see a double R, you pronounce it once. The Romans, two R's are sounded. Terra. So terra. We have two distinct syllables. Terra. Panem, also a long A on panem. Panem nostrum quotidianum da, a long A on da, it's a command, give, da nobis hodie, da nobis hodie, give to us today, da nobis hodie. Et dimitte, notice the two T's, dimitte nobis debita nostra, debita nostra, nostra, dimitte nobis debita nostra. Sicut et nos, a long O on nos, dimittimus, dimittimus debitoribus, debitoribus nostris, debitoribus nostris. Et ne, a long E on ne, et ne nos inducas, a long U and a long AS, so inducas in tentationem, because we have a long O and a short E at the end of this word, and so we get the circumflex on the O. When we have a long vowel followed by a short vowel and then the end of the word, the long vowel gets the circumflex. So in tentationem, in tentationem, et ne nos inducas in tentationem. Sed libera, also a long A on the end, it's a command. Sed libera nos a malo. Sed libera nos a malo. Quia, quia, tuum. Now notice something happens in Latin here. When we have tuum, actually ends in a vowel, not a consonant. It doesn't end in an M. It ends in this nasalized U. And we're following it with another vowel, est. Something happens in classical ancient Latin when we have a vowel in one word followed by a vowel in the other. It's called elision. It happens in other languages too. And we get tuumst, tuumst. The two vowels slide into each other and we get quia tuumst regnum. Tuumst regnum. But because of the comma after regnum, the et doesn't glide into regnum. So quia tuumst regnum et potentia et gloria. Quia tuumst regnum et potentia et gloria. In saecula. In saecula. So here we have in centuries, in saecula. And that's the Pater Noster. Now we're going to go over it again as a complete text. Pater Noster, qui es in caelis. Sanctificetur nomen tuum. adveniat regnum tuum. Fiat voluntas tua, sicut in caelo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimitte nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimittimus debitoribus nostris. Et ne nos inducas in tentatione, sed libera nos a malo. Quia tuumst regnum, et potentia, et gloria, in saecula.